Good evening. Will you please stand for the posting of the colors by the Bentonville Police Department Honor Guard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Boy Scout Troop 36 and Girl Scouts 5516, and then a moment of silence for our military, and then the national anthem performed by Bobby Smittle, the president of the Bentonville Kiwanis Club.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated.
Tonight we reflect on the past nearly 150 years of investments which brought us to this place. The years of deliberate planning, thoughtful preparation, community engagement, and patient execution that built the city that we are all so very proud of. Tonight we recognize the leadership and engagement from the community that makes our city of Bentonville such a prized community in the state of Arkansas, and I believe in the nation. Thank you to all who work hard every day to make our city the very best it can be. You are doing tremendous things to foster our next generation and the future of Bentonville. We know it takes everyone working together, the partnerships that we have with the schools, along with our business community, community leaders, neighborhoods, and every sector in our city to make us strong. With a winning combination of available talent and infrastructure, Bentonville is a city poised to support every entrepreneur's dream with opportunity for all. We are inspired by the dreamers, those who look to the future in an effort to make the city an even more dynamic hub. Bentonville has made extensive investments in infrastructure to support business growth in this new economy. Through our private-public partnerships, we are home to world-class museums, thriving arts and culture, world-class cycling, a high-quality trail system that transforms public life, providing healthy, low-stress access to parks, open space, and mobility, and a safe and clean environment for our residents. Investments have been made in technology, improvements to infrastructure for streets, drainage, clean water, expansion for our parks and public library, and enhancements to our public safety to bring every advantage to our city coming into the 21st century. Our innovative and forward-thinking infrastructure supports our strong economic development and community-wide can-do attitude by providing opportunities to meet the needs of our businesses and residents that choose to live, work, and play in Bentonville, Arkansas. To all those with a dream, Bentonville is here, and we are ready for what is yet to come. The Bentonville that you see today has been an evolution of thoughtful planning, of development, and citywide services, all creating a quality community for businesses and families to grow, thrive, and prosper.
Welcome again. We're really excited you're here. Bobby, thank you for doing that. I wanted to say go Hogs after, but thank you so much for being here tonight, everyone. I'm Debbie Griffin. Let's get the evening started. I'm the Director of Administration for the City of Bentonville.
Hey, and good evening. My name is David Wright. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Bentonville. And let's welcome Mayor Orman. Hey, Mayor, good evening. Are you excited about tonight?
I am excited about tonight. So
Very good, very good. Well, tell us what we're going to see.
Okay, well, so this was a little bit of a vision. We really wanted to tell the Bentonville story. I have to, from a legal standpoint, I have to give the state of the city, and it's sort of this really long 49-page essay about the city. And I said, let's try to make this a little more interactive tonight and let our community and those members that really serve our community tell that story for us. So our audience tonight is made up of some of our Spirit of Bentonville Award winners, and then those of you that serve on many of our boards and commissions. And then we have several community leaders and then city staff that's going to share with us tonight how about Bentonville and some of the really exciting things in the city. So with that, I believe we have
The message from Governor Asa Hutchinson.
Hi, this is Governor Asa Hutchinson. Great things are happening in Bentonville. Your population increased by 53% and your sales tax receipts are up as well. Crystal Bridges is doubling in size and your walking and cycling trails chalked up 3.5 million uses. And so there's a lot for Mayor Orman to talk about today. And I want to thank the volunteers for your work, which is essential to the success of Bentonville. I know you will enjoy this evening as you celebrate life and growth in your wonderful city. As Mayor Orman said, the pandemic slowed down many things, but it could not slow down Bentonville.
So I know one of our highlights over the past year for the city of Bentonville has been the national recognition that we see each week from Dave and Jenny Mars. And as we welcome them tonight from HGTV's Fixer to Fabulous, we've got a short clip as they make their way to the stage to highlight some of Dave's skills.
Jenny, I have an idea for the Piro family.
Oh, yeah?
They like games.
Yeah, board games.
I was thinking, what if I made a chessboard?
Oh,
That'd be cool, right?
yeah. Have you ever made a chessboard?
Actually, I have. Here's what I was thinking. Some walnut.
Wait, when did you make a chessboard?
I think 6th grade we started shop class. Mom and Dad still have it.
Oh, seriously?
I'll text them. All right, I'm going to work. 6th grade, here I come. After it dries, I'm going to cut slices like this, the same width. And then I'm going to shift them. So then we create the chessboard.
Dave,
Yep.
look what I found. Your parents.
Hey, guys.
Look what they brought.
Oh, yeah. Look.
Oh, whoa. It's beautiful. Are you going to build stuff too someday?
Show your arm muscles. Flex them.
Oh, really good.
All right, you guys. Thanks a lot.
Let's welcome Dave and Jenny. It's my understanding you're on your way to a soccer game, so thanks for stopping in with us.
Of all the clips, that's the one you picked?
I can't take credit for that, so you can blame Debbie.
That had to be
sorry. Well, we really thank you for joining us, and I do know that you are very active in our community. In fact, you're leaving to go coach soccer
Yes.
after this. So
I've never played soccer before in my life, and this one signed me up for it. I'm learning a lot. I think that, the kids know more than me most times, but it's good. We enjoy it.
Well, I will say my husband's in the audience, and I might have signed him up to coach before, too. So
We've seen him out there.
I understand the feeling. But we're really excited to have you here with us. And I will say, I was telling you when we were standing before the program started that I was at Municipal League a couple weeks ago. Municipal League is sort of that organization for cities. And so it's usually different mayors and different from all the cities. And they're always like, what's going on in Bentonville? And what's the newest trail? What's going on with Crystal Bridges? But this year it was, do you know Dave and Jenny Mars? And I said, yes, I do. And they're like, are they really as genuine as they are on TV? And I said, yes, they are. So we want to talk to you a little bit about what it's like to help put Bentonville on the national map.
Oh, man. I think for us, it was one of the big reasons we said yes to doing the show was because we're so proud of this city and our area. And we wanted people to know how great it is because sometimes when you say you're from Arkansas, they're like, oh, what is that like? And we wanted to show them that it is amazing. And so I think our production company has done a great job featuring the area, and we were really, we actually went through and we worked with 2 different production companies coming up with concepts, and we went with the one that we're with because the development producer is actually from Rogers, and he now lives in St. Louis, but he's very protective of the area. His mom still lives here, and he told us, I'm going to make sure that the area is portrayed in the right way, and that's what we were really concerned about. So they did, and I think they've done a great job highlighting all of the things. We're filming right now, and we were trying to plan what we call morning scenes, which is like little things like this where they just kind of follow us with our normal life, and they're like, what else can we, what do you guys have going on? And we're like, oh, you know what we should do is, because Dave and the boys love to go on the trails, biking, and that's such a big thing here in this area. Let's get some shots of the trail system and Dave and the boys biking. So we try to incorporate different parts of the city, and they're great about that. They love doing that. So
They are, and we've heard so many great stories of people that, during COVID, all this, we watched your show and we thought, man, Northwest Arkansas, that'd be a great place to go. And I would never just pick up and move somewhere because of a television show, but a lot of people have done it. I mean,
not a lot. Let's not say a lot.
Okay.
Maybe like 5
several.
people.
I will defend you. People have told me
Me
they watched your
too.
show and they are here because
She always
of it.
beats
So
me
I'll
down
defend
like
you a little
this.
bit.
No, I don't know. I mean, we don't know.
But
We
I
don't
have to
any-
say, there is another side of me that, in the traffic on the way here, I kind of curse myself in the same sentence with all the growth that is happening. But it's great. It is great.
But you can still get through town pretty quickly,
You can.
Dave. So,
You
all
can.
right, help
You
me out here. All right.
Mayor Orman. Yes, you can. You're doing a great job.
Dennis thanks you as well, our transportation director. Tell me a little bit, are you surprised with the success of the show?
Yeah, very surprised.
Yes.
So when we first started this show, the expectation that was given to us was, hey, we do a lot of these pilots every year, and very few of them make it to the first season. And so we really went into this thinking, okay, hey, if we can have one show where we have a little bit of a stage that we can talk about some of the nonprofit work and some of the things that we care about, then it was all worth it. We'll do that one thing and that'll be it. And it's always just been the next season, because we are 100% ratings based. And so, I think the production company has done an outstanding job of highlighting what our area actually is, the community that we live in and how friendly people are and how beautiful it is in Northwest Arkansas. And so I guess looking back on it, I shouldn't have been surprised. I think it's as much our area as it is Jenny's beautiful face. So, but it's been great. It has.
So speaking of upcoming seasons, can you give us any heads up of things we can look for?
Yeah, we're not allowed to publicly announce it, so this is just.
We can't tell you we're
Not being
filming season
videoed.
4 right now.
Yeah, but we're being, yeah. So season 4, we're in production right now, and it'll air this fall. And then we actually have another thing that we're working on too, but we definitely can't talk about that. Don't. But it'll be, I don't know when that will air, but it's kind of like kind of like we did Rock the Block. So just another, we'll partner up with some other folks on the network, which will be fun, and it'll be good. It's all about, okay, stop. And it's all about small town revitalization and taking, like smaller areas. And so it's kind of cool because we get to.
Do you want me to stop her
feature-
if she gets
Yeah.
you on real?
I'm not saying anything.
But it's fun
here.
because we get.
Just
But
sitting there.
no, but I was gonna say what's cool about it is that they will feature our town or Bentonville a lot because they'll show like this is this amazing town that we live in, and so that's really cool.
Yeah.
So what's one of the biggest surprises about doing television production?
Well, I mean, as far as a business standpoint, there was because I'm a contractor, and so it was just work for me. And then all of a sudden, cameras are following you around, and the biggest surprise for me was realizing that the production crew, they have a job to do as well, and so it's really hard to get work done. I mean, when we're filming, there's 3 cameramen, there's a sound guy, there's a couple producers, there's 15 people following you around, and like my subcontractors can't just go in there and go to town and get everything done. There's a lot of stop and go, and so really I was very surprised that very little of the actual work on these renovations happens when the cameras are on. Like when they leave town, so they leave town, next week, and that's when we get a lot of the work done. And so you'll have like little B-roll GoPro cameras around that are filming all the actual real work, but it was just a big surprise on the give and take that that has to happen to produce one of these shows, because for every 43-minute show that we produce, they do about 120 hours of footage that they have to cut down into that 43-minute segment.
Well, we just want to say thank you so much for being a great representation of the area, and we're excited for your future. And you should have won Rock the Block. That's a side point. And I did look at the comments, and you had the most positive comments from the comment sections on social media. So you have a great fan base, and we're very proud of you.
We
and
really
thank you
do.
for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
we
having
appreciate
us.
you all.
Thank you.
One of the things that have really led our community forward in the past, just in general, the past several decades, are the public-private partnerships that we have in our community. Our next guests are 2 gentlemen who have really pushed the envelope when it's come to public-private partnerships. So many times, these 2 gentlemen are known for bike trails or for culinary or maybe aviation. But one of the things that people may not be aware of is them and their family's generosity led to places like Lawrence Plaza. It led to places like Orchards Park and Memorial Park, and even part of the building that we're sitting in tonight are because of Tom and Stuart Walton and their family. Let's welcome to the stage Tom and Stuart Walton.
All right, welcome. Well, as David mentioned, we're very appreciative of our private-public partnerships, and I will say it's fun to have the conversations because in city government, honestly, I think that's somewhat of new conversations that are happening. So we appreciate that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Walton Family Foundation, and I know, Tom, you serve on the board, and you want to start us off with sort of the focus of the Family Foundation.
Sure, that sounds good. I just want to say hi to everybody in the room and just take a moment to thank everybody. I feel like this is a community development team here. This is the team that's basically making things happen in Bentonville, and I just want to recognize that because we're just a small piece of the cog, and Stuart and I are both fortunate to grow up here and to be able to do what we're doing, but we understand that there are folks that have come before us that have set things in momentum, and we're really riding on the back of their shoulders. So thank you all for doing what you're doing. We're glad to be here. So the foundation, let's see, I chair the home region, and I think most of you will know, and maybe not, but there's really the education division of the foundation, which is kind of K through 12 education efforts throughout the entire country. And the idea was really brought together by, it was led by John Walton, my brother's older, or my father's older brother. And the notion there was that competition is a good thing. And we've supported a number of charter schools, and charter schools are another form of public schools, but this idea of using competition to improve the betterment of schools was the kind of whole idea behind it. So we continue on with that, 2 decades of work, and there are people in the family that are as passionate about that than ever before. There's the environment, which is being led by several of our generation. There's 8 of us in the generation. The foundation is still a way in which we work together, and that was part of the founder's intent. Sam and Helen is like keeping the family together. How do they work together? So a lot of folks are interested in the environment. And then there's the home region, which is the one that Stuart and I are actively on the board of, as well as my mother. And really, the aim is to build a vibrant community that is welcoming for all. And that's the latest mission statement. And it's been I think, when it was 2025 plan, so that came out in 2020. And we're halfway through it. If you haven't met Robert Burns, I hope everyone in this room gets the chance to meet him, because he's a great leader. We're lucky to have him. And what else should I say? Maybe the thing I'm most excited about is this leadership pipeline development, which is a focus on getting folks in the community engaged in nonprofit boards and civic positions throughout Northwest Arkansas. You all know it better. I mean, I don't need to say it to this group, but when you're growing at a clip like we're growing, we need to have folks engaged.
You can't take any from our boards and commissions tonight. Wait a second here.
Right. All right. Anyways, so that's it. I mean, Stuart and I, our work is personally centered around helping Northwest Arkansas be one of the greatest places to live, and that's why we participate on the Home Region Focus Committee.
All right, Stuart, so the next question is for you. You served on the Governor's Economic Recovery Task Force. So what are you seeing, we talked about Bentonville and what we're seeing. What are you seeing across the state and sort of the outlook for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's hard to even imagine thinking back to when COVID sort of closed everything down and the world kind of came to a screeching halt. And where we've gotten to since then, I think, is just a testament to the country. It's a testament to the state. It's a testament to the city, the resilience of the people, and the strength of the work of the community that we live in. I think, as far as Bentonville goes, the city's done really well, come through COVID really well. I feel like I hope we're exiting COVID. Touch wood. And I'm done making predictions, because that is a dangerous business, and I have gotten every single one I've made wrong. But if we are indeed exiting COVID today, I think we're exiting it surprisingly, maybe stronger than we went into it. And if you look ahead a little bit, the world's kind of a scary place at the moment, right? Like, you've got a war going on, you've got all kinds of tension with China and some other countries. And so if I look ahead, I actually think things might be a little rocky going forward. It's hard to not, think that something could happen. There's inflation, there's all this stuff running. But actually, I think Bentonville in particular is set up to move further ahead if we do have some bumpy times ahead, because of the resilience of our community and because of the resilience of the people and the businesses within our community. And so, am I worried about the future from like a macro point of view? A little bit. It's hard to take a lot of comfort with the news and everything going on right now. But am I worried about Bentonville and our future here? Not so much, because I think we have the strength I think we have kind of almost a powerful tailwind. I'm a pilot, so I love pilot references. We have incredible tailwind sort of blowing in our favor right now. And I think that even if things get a little rocky going forward, we're going to come through that, maybe even, again, stronger on the backside of it. And I don't know that that's the case for a lot of other places.
Absolutely. I think Bentonville hopefully is the bright spot out there right now. So, and it's all because of everyone in this audience. So tell us a little bit about Rope Swing. So I know you, hospitality and entertainment is something that you're both involved with. So talk to us about that.
Sure. Well, the story behind Rope Swing is an interesting one because it goes back to, I think, right before Crystal Bridges opened. We were trying to recruit a couple restaurateurs to town to basically move into where the Preacher's Son is and where the press room is. And some stuff happened in the 11th hour, and they literally didn't have confidence in the downtown market. So we were kind of sitting there, straddling, like wondering what to do. And out of that came Rope Swing. We partnered with the original press room. We ended up buying that press room, and we hired Rob Apple to start it. But the notion of the culinary experience and why we thought it was important in town, I remember very clearly in an early conversation in a board meeting at Crystal Bridges, hearing this company come and talk about branding and this, and the reference was the culinary experience of the future for future generations is going to be equal or more important than a cultural experience, that of which going to a museum or going to a park. And I was like, I can't believe this, but I looked at it and I knew right then that we had to like do something in culinary. And y'all will remember there wasn't much going on the square for a long time. So we saw this experience in food is really one of the first ways in which you can kind of activate the downtown. So we made investments in culinary, and it's great to see just the growing number of restaurants in town. And I feel like the game is being elevated. So.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk aviation. So I'm going to direct this over to Stuart, although I know both of you fly. In fact, one of you has made me sick in the air once, but not too bad. I made it through it. So talk to us about Fly-Oz and Summit Aviation and some of your passions there.
Sure. This hat I'm wearing, I'll start with this, the VBT, Victor Bravo Tango. That's the FAA's identifier for the Bentonville Airport. And if you go out there, they have a little store, and you can get this hat or another, perhaps even cooler one. But you know, the way I like to think about aviation is actually you start with the premise that it's pretty cool, right? It's cool to fly. The engines are cool. The airplanes are cool. And by and large, the people around aviation, I think they're cool. Some people think they're nerdy, like my wife, but I think they're cool. But aviation just, and like flying is cool, right? Like going up and seeing the world from above and going over the lake or to downtown or up to, you know, Bella Vista and seeing the lakes there. Like, that's cool. And the airport is a public amenity. It's public property, right? The problem with flying is that access and accessibility tends to be a challenge. And some of that is kind of structural, like the FAA wants you to build big, tall fences and put barbed wire across the top, and so that's not very welcoming. And some of it is just, you know, people don't have a way into flying. They don't have exposure to it. And, of course, my grandfather was a well-known and notorious pilot in a lot of circles. But that's how I got exposed to aviation, and I'm incredibly appreciative of it and grateful for it. But our thinking around aviation is, hey, how do we make the Bentonville Airport accessible, and how do we bring the community into this community asset? And so that kind of led us down this road of, well, let's build a building that we can be proud of and that we can really like welcome a lot of people into. And that sort of turned into the field house. Let's provide a place for them to eat, and that's Cafe Louise. Let's teach people to fly, and that's the flying school there. It has 170 students, I think, today, with about 40 on the wait list. Let's make it kid-friendly. Let's bring families. Let's get little pedal planes so they can drive around, and let's put up a jungle gym outside, and let's get park access, and let's expand the lake, and let's get some fishermen in here too. And let's just provide a way, on-ramp, if you will, for folks in the community that have any passing interest whatsoever in aviation to come out and get a taste of it and experience it. And so, with that kind of mindset, we've been able to create what I think is just a fantastic experience at the Bentonville Airport. Maybe some folks saw this, but it was just named the coolest airport in the country by Flying Magazine, which is like, I still pinch myself when I see that title on the top of the magazine. I mean, it's just incredible. And the single most important factor, I'll tell you, in accomplishing that and being named this cool airport is the partnership and the work with the city. It would not happen without a positive working relationship there, and for that we're very grateful.
Thank you, Debbie.
We certainly appreciate that partnership. We also appreciate, and what I'll say is, with all of these projects we're going to talk to you about, really that accessibility aspect, whether it's aviation, whether it's trails, which we're going to talk about in a minute, or the arts. I think the conversations that I've been a part of, in every conversation with the city, it's about giving access to the public for all of those arenas if they want it. And so thank you for that. We're going to talk a little bit about the arts, and that is another thing. I remember just the concept that everybody should have access to art. And so we're going to talk about Crystal Bridges in a minute, but sort of the sister museum is the Momentary. So do you want to give us a little more information about the Momentary and what's going on there? I did just hear this morning there's quite a few events planned. They were going through traffic safety and signage, maybe. So
If you haven't seen the event page at the Momentary, they just updated it within the last week, Mayor, and I looked at it today just to confirm who was coming. But Lyle Lovett's coming, y'all. One of my favorites. But what happened at the Momentary, you all will remember, it closed down 2 weeks after it opened, right at the heart of COVID. So we never really saw it reach its full potential. And it's so nice to see it turning the corner. With COVID kind of gone, you can see so much life in there. We had the fashion show, and I went in there and I was like, wow, this is amazing to see 800 people in here at one time. But on the backs of COVID, we realized that people were missing live music. There's starving for live music. So we've made a switch to kind of reorient a big portion of the budget for this next year and probably the years after towards live music. And I think I don't know if it's on record, but I think it's 9 festivals or one day kind of music act type festivals that will be on the green, and then lots of other activations inside the space as well. So we're really excited about that. I know that this community loves live music. When you look at the amp, I mean, it's going bananas. So what else would I say about the expansion of Crystal Bridges, I think, is a pretty notable thing. You all will start to see some of that construction start. And, I think about my wife, Olivia, and her interest to get, art into every day. She kind of talks about the importance of just having the arts in part of the daily life, really. So I hope to see more of that just around town, but I don't know.
Okay, well, let's talk about cycling, because I know that's big for both of you, right? And we sort of self-proclaimed Bentonville the mountain biking capital of the world, but the nice thing is we have all of the infrastructure and the trails to back up that proclamation. So, and you've helped us with a lot of that. So let's talk about that investment and how that's driving tourism in Bentonville.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I think when we built Slaughter Pen, James and I were out there sweating our tails off and working on that phase 1. And really, the intent there when we built it it was only going to be a 5-mile trail system, so we had to make it the best 5-mile trail system it could be. And it was always designed, and it's funny, a lot of people think, oh, well, it's all about the tourism, but the trail system was always designed first and foremost for the folks that lived here. So I'll put that one on record. But what I get excited about with the kind of trail system is this notion of taking the momentum that we've created off of the trail system and then extending it into other areas and providing more momentum to open up access for waterways and climbing and things like that. I mean, I think big picture-wise, Arkansas, I mean, we all know this, it could be the Colorado of the heartland. There's nothing really holding us back over the next 10 years. You know, I was talking to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and outdoor recreation is on her list. She's interested in really transforming the state. So can we help her kind of get behind that, use some of this momentum here? I think we can. So that's what gets me excited. That and the fact that we're trying to be a place where beginner mountain bikers come to learn. And I think that...
Yes, I have to thank Kayleen. She took me out on one of my first mountain biking, and I crashed. So she was not a good teacher. So those beginner, I need to be in that class.
There's a whole body of work going to thinking about the scaffolding and the, I'd call it like the services and, you know, anything that you can do to help you progress and safely upskill. So I know your net promoter score was not that high, but we're truly aiming to kind of change that.
Safely upskill. I like I've got the wording, so yeah. I'm going to be in that program. Yeah, I will say you've made me much more adventurous, and the trails. We get so many comments about the trails. So whether you are an experienced mountain biker that should be on some of those, or the beginner trails, I think one of the things that you've really helped us do is have that experience for everybody, and so we appreciate.
One thing I'd just add, you know, you mentioned this mountain biking capital of the world, which I think we trademarked or registered or whatever it is, proclaimed. But it's actually true. And what's incredible is, like, you bring people here from Colorado or from California or from the Northeast, and they're just blown away. And not only do they have a great time, but they come back. And I got a friend who lives in the Bay Area, and he's an investor, and he, you know, does all that kind of stuff. And he comes to Bentonville twice a year, and he does a mountain bike trip to Whistler, British Columbia, and he does one to Moab, and he does 2 to Bentonville. And he was telling a friend of his about, he's really obviously kind of an enthusiastic mountain biker, but the friend said, why in the world do you go to Bentonville twice? You've got these other just world-class, world-famous destinations, and you're going to Bentonville twice. And Todd, that's his name, he said, I smile more when I go to Bentonville. And it's the trails, no question. I mean, they are world-class. But it's the town as much as it is the trails, and it's the people. And he just keeps coming back. And I just love that story because, you know, the trails are fun and they're important, but what makes Bentonville, when you really boil it down, is the people, the spirit, the sort of determination and all that. So it's just great.
One thing that might surprise you is that Stuart and I are riding our mountain bikes actually less and less. We've moved on from mountain biking. There's this thing called gravel cycling, which is basically it's a different type of bike, a hybrid between gravel and road.
It scares me just the name, so.
Yeah, well, it's for gravel roads, and you know how many, we have 1,200 miles of gravel road in Benton County. So there's this endless network of joy and adventure, and you know, if you're not into mountain biking, gravel cycling is really fun. It's more conversational. It's casual.
We still mountain bike quite a lot, though. Although we did gravel bike today.
Yeah. Well, we just appreciate you having a conversation with us and sharing kind of your hearts and your passions. And just thank you for making Bentonville what it is and the partnerships and the future. We look forward to working with you in the future. And thank you for getting me out on the mountain biking trails. I promise to get better. Thank you for taking me up in the air. I do like to ride and be able to see from the air the town, and so definitely a great perspective from that. So you've made me more adventurous.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say thanks again to everyone in this room. It's the contribution you all are making that is really making the difference. And Stuart and we're just doing our little thing, but it's really this team of everyone in the room working together, and that's what it's all about.
Well, and let me just also say, Tom and I have to sneak out because I've got a 10-week-old child at home, and I've gotten 3 texts. Saying, where are you? So I'd love to stay, but Tom has his 2 daughters as well. But our families are happy, and they're here, and they're in Bentonville, and we're happy to be here too. Thank you so much for having us
Thank you.
tonight.
I also want to say thank you to someone who's not often recognized that works with Tom and Stuart, is Katie Parsons, who works with a lot of our city staff. So thank you, Katie, for all you do behind the scenes to help coordinate things. And we do have strong community partnerships, and Mayor Orman began the Spirit of Bentonville Award to recognize our community and our staff. And we're going to take a look at some of our younger citizens and the difference that they are making in our community with this Bentonville provided by Downtown Bentonville.
Acts of kindness can come from anyone, no matter their age.
I love to cuddle with him and then throw his toys around.
Liberty De Silva has big ideas and an even bigger heart. Inspired by her adopted dog, King, Liberty works to help other local animals find loving homes by selling bracelets and lemonade.
I was trying to raise money for the animal shelter so that way they could hopefully have another dog adopted very soon.
Rayon Patel is a junior entrepreneur and artist. Rayon spends his Saturday morning selling artwork in downtown Bentonville's art market to raise funds for the city's Animal Services Department.
I felt that inspiration that maybe I should help these animals live better. So what I thought I should do is make an art shop because I am really good in art, and then sell these artwork for animals and animal shelter.
These 2 kids working to build up Bentonville say it's all about stepping in and helping out.
You're gonna be known as the person who helped animals, and it's gonna be great. You're gonna have a great feeling about it. You just feel that love of knowing that you rescued an animal, and you feel the love of what you get to put out and how you helped.
Thank you, Andrew and Dana and the team at DBI for putting that video together. And thanks for Liberty and Rayon, or I don't know if they're here tonight, but thanks for those 2 youngsters. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Thanks to both of y'all for being here and taking that step for our community. That's such a big thing, and we're all really proud of you and for you, and appreciate you just as much. In 2021, we honored 5 community members and 6 community organizations with the Spirit of Bentonville Award. If you are one of those recipients and are here tonight, would you please stand for us? Thank you. Thank you. And tonight we're gonna award 2 more people, Mayor, and I'll let you do the honors.
Okay. Well, I'm excited tonight to give 2 more Spirit of Bentonville Awards to some amazing individuals that have worked really hard in our community, and one of them happens to be sitting right next to me. So Miss Melanie Hoskins, she was part of our DI task force, and she's also headed up our Bentonville Together and our Multicultural Festival for April 23rd. And what I've loved about Melanie, number one, if you ever see her smile, that's what she looks like 24/7, and she's always just welcoming, and she really had a passion for the Multicultural Festival. It was conversation, and I was like, we're all so busy. I don't know how we're going to add another event and different things, and she just had a passion to do it, and she's worked tirelessly to put this together for our first Multicultural Festival event, and I just want to say thank you, and we're going to have a little conversation about that in just a minute. But I also have a recognition for Brenda Anderson, and I think Brenda might be in our audience. There she is. Come on up. And so we do nomination forms for this particular award as well. And Brenda, we actually received multiple nominations for you, but I'm just going to read one of them, and I think it gives you sort of the overview of what Brenda's like and her personality and what she brings to Bentonville. And it says, Brenda has helped grow the positive spirit of the Bentonville area more than anyone I've met. Her influence and professional attitude motivates everyone around her to do the right thing, even in the most difficult circumstances. So, thank you very much, and we love you, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And you can sit on the couch with her. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation. Melanie's going to talk to us about the Multicultural Festival and give us some information about that. So tell us what's going on.
Yes, so first of all, thank you so much for the recognition, Mayor Orman. And we are having the first Multicultural Festival co-hosted by Downtown Bentonville. So I see Andrew in the audience. This festival will have 3 components. The Learn section will be for our young residents, and it will consist of arts and craft as well as linguistic lessons. Our Discover section will share cultural, relevant, religious components, as well as share a overview of the history of Bentonville. So though this area that we call our home and that we cherish and we've heard so much about tonight. And then we will also have a culinary section called Our Taste. And so that will consist of food trucks, but we will also have a passport that we will extend the experience and support our restaurants in the area for a week long and get stamps by supporting those restaurants with a culinary, with a cultural aspect. The piece de resistance is our live performances on the main stage where we will feature acts from our community that again have a cultural aspect. And really this event came about because this DEI task force conducted community listening sessions. And with each listening session, no matter which demographic we spoke with, we heard them say that we needed something that celebrated our community, the differences within our community, the special aspect of our community, that this community brings together people from all over the country and all over the world. And again, that is something that we cherish. We have neighbors that we may not share a background with, but we can learn about their practices. We can learn about how they grew up, and we can again, embrace those differences. And so as a result of that, as the Mayor Orman mentioned, I put together a proposal based on my experience from St. Louis and an international festival that we have there. And that's what we're going to have. We're going to celebrate Bentonville. We're going to celebrate Bentonville together. And it's going to happen on April 23rd. It's going to include a T-shirt design that we work with the city of the school district to have a contest for. And so we chose a winner with Crystal Bridges, and we will also have an inaugural art piece that will be hosted by the Historical Society. And so that will be a participation piece that you all, when you attend, can contribute to.
And I want to say you had over 300 entries.
We did have over 300 T-shirt designs.
So that says a lot about it. So again, thank you for sharing that information. And we expect everybody to mark your calendar for Saturday, April 23rd in the afternoon, evening time, be in downtown Bentonville.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Orman.
Okay. Well, thank you both for joining me. And Brenda, I don't know if you want to say anything about what's going on, or everybody would like for you to say what you're doing. I know.
Brenda said no questions, so
Okay.
I do what Brenda says, right?
So I will say our city staff loves working with Brenda, though. She knows the infrastructure in our city, and they love to work with you because you know all of that. And so I've heard those comments just from our city staff. So thank you for everything you do.
So now you make me want to say something.
No, we want you to say something.
you know, I was surprised by, you know, the nomination and the award, and then being here this evening, I see so many people who are the spirit of Bentonville. And I was thinking as I was coming here this evening about city staff and about how, you know, people go to work every day to do the best they can for the community. And how much I appreciate that, and how much I appreciate the volunteerism of everyone in this room, and that a spirit by itself is just a ghost, right? But a spirit, when it's shared, is a pretty powerful thing. So, thank you.
May I recognize the team that has been working on this Multicultural Festival for over a year? If you're in the audience, please stand, and thank you so much for your hard work. I know I've seen some people, so please stand. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining me on stage.
Thank you.
David, as you know, we have over 7 million tourists annually in Bentonville, and the Saturday's Farmers Market won the national award for the best farmers market and topped over $1 million in sales.
We do. We really do have great, incredible community partners that serve so many people, work with so many teams. And tonight, the leaders of two of those organizations are here with us. Let's welcome to the stage Kayleen Griffith with Visit Bentonville and Andrew Heath with DBI.
So Kayleen and Andrew are some of my favorite people. We meet on a weekly basis, and they keep.
We have that recorded, right?
We have, yes.
Perfect.
We have lots of, except for when you bring things late to traffic safety and signage, I got to stick up for my city staff.
I'm working on it.
But we're going to talk about Kayleen works to promote the city of Bentonville and the tourism, and so let's talk about some of the big things for 2022. Kayleen. Now, I will say, Kayleen, I know you have lots of things. We do have a time limit, so.
I know, Debbie gave me my time limit. So that means I have to talk faster, and I talk fast anyway. Well, there's so many wonderful things, and you know, the nice thing is that we have all of these wonderful amenities in our community, but some of our big events that are coming, and just to give you a little inkling, you know, they talked about the arts and the cycling and the aviation, and all of those things allow us to tell a story about our community and get to invite people into our community. I always tell people I get to be the party planner for our city because I get to invite everybody in, entertain them while they're here, and thank them for coming, and hopefully some of them move here. We're seeing that already. But some of our big events that are coming in the near future, we have the Bike Fest that's coming. We have Fresh Grass Festival. That's the music, as Tom and Stuart talked about. We could not do these events. We have Outer Bike. We have about 100 different sports and cycling events all together, which is just massive for us every year for our 9 people staff. But we can't do any of those events, I'm going to thank, because our team would not be able to do it. We don't own any property. We don't work with anybody. So if it wasn't for David's team, I'm going to get in trouble because I use first names, Brent Boydston and Ray with the police department and the fire department, none of it could be done without their partnership and their guidance. Because, you know, I solve for yes, and they remind me that sometimes I can't solve for yes, that I have to redirect them sometimes. But we do a really good job of working together. So our events, there's just so many events and so many things. And I'll just use an example. Last week, we had 11 different events going on in our community, in our downtown and surrounding areas, and every single one of them we touched in some way. Now, we're not putting on those events, but we're touching those events, and we work really hard at a lot of different things from that perspective, and I couldn't do it without the people that we have on our team and the partnerships with your city. You know, we work really closely together.
Great. All right, Andrew, now it's time for your question. So you are helping with the Multicultural Festival, which we've talked about, but you have a lot of events in store for 2022.
We do. So we're really excited that COVID is over. Knock on any wood you can find. We really missed the community the last couple of years, and we're moving forward with a very busy calendar. Our farmers markets start this Saturday. So if you have been missing out on it, at least one person has, you can come on out Saturday morning. And as it was mentioned earlier, we had a record-breaking year last year, $1.3 million worth of revenue with just the vendors around the square, which is really awesome. for those families that rely on that. But we had our first Friday last Friday on April 1st. It wasn't a joke. It was wonderful. We estimate anywhere between 8,000 and 10,000 people came out for the day. And that'll be going on all the way through November, which is Toyland, which I'm sure everybody in this room loves. Okay, we'll work on that. If you're under the age of 5, I know you would have been cheering on that one. But besides the kind of like our staple events, which are First Friday and farmers markets, we are doing the Bentonville Together event this year that we're really excited about. The first real intentional experience to celebrate the multicultures that are in our area that call Northwest Arkansas home, which is also new for me. I've only been here for 4 years. I'm from outside of Philadelphia, so coming out here has been a huge eye-opening experience, and I can tell you I will retire here and be here for the rest of my life. In addition to the events, we launched Downtown Media about 1.5 years ago, right when COVID was kind of just peeking around the corner, a storytelling platform that we can use for not just recruiting outsiders to move here, but to tell the stories of the people who do live here. A lot of our farmer market vendors have been here for many, many years, and we're using this as a platform to kind of go into their stories and see what they're all about. The only other thing I'll mention is that this is our 20th anniversary. That's kind of hard to imagine. You may have saw the logo that went through in the video. That was the first time that we're sharing it is tonight, but we are going to be spending this entire year just talking about the 20 years that DBI has been a part of this community and how the community has changed. And we'll have a lot of different kind of events scheduled to celebrate that as well.
Well, I thank both of you for sharing some information, and we appreciate the partnership, and we look forward to future partnerships. So
it's going to be a great year.
Thank you.
It is. Thank you.
David, as we've already mentioned tonight, a lot of times when we would travel to conferences or events around the country, we were known as home to Walmart. And of course, now it's Dave and Jenny. But that's changing, and it started changing about 10 years ago.
It really did. It started changing with the opening of Crystal Bridges, and that's evolved over the past decade. And now we've opened the Momentary, and now we're about to be known as a destination for healthcare. Our next guest is while a lot of these ideas may have been Alice Walton's idea, and she may have been the mastermind behind a lot of that, the person who really brings these things to life and brings them out of the ground is Scott Eccleston. Scott, what's your title now? President of Campus Planning and Facility Management, and he's over the expansion of Crystal Bridges and the construction of the Whole Health Institute. Our next guest is Scott Eccleston. Let's welcome him to the stage.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to have a conversation. Everybody wants to know what's going on at Crystal Bridges. We've got expansion plans, and you, I'm told, is the person that can tell us everything we want to know about it.
Oh my goodness, 10 minutes. Well, first of all, we do really well at dream, do, and discover. But I must admit, I stretch this team over here to unimaginable limits. They do such a great job. We just keep creating, and they keep approving. And so I really do appreciate the city. So I had to get that out of the way. So, Crystal Bridges, what are we doing? Well, architecture, nature, education. We love it. And about 3 years ago, Alice sat in a room and she's like, and this is what she calls our architect, Moshe. Moshe is going to turn 80. So I think we need to plan for the next 25 years. And I said, great, let's rest another 5 before we call him. And she said, no, let's call him. So he came over and he got all excited, and him and Alice start running around, and they came up with a 50-year master plan. And it was really cool. And so I presented it to her, and she said, well, I said, Alice, here's the next 25 years. And she says, well, I think I want to do it now. And I was like, well, that didn't last but a couple minutes. So here we are. And we brought Moshe in, and we just announced a 100,000 square foot addition. You're starting to see some slides, by the way. Very few of these slides have ever been public till tonight. But we are anxious to increase our education side. We're going to have 100,000 kids a year. We're going from 60 to 100,000. We're adding pottery. We're going to activate those galleries from day to night with adult classes. The landscape is going to be gorgeous. So that's Crystal Bridges. We could have stopped, but we thought it's time to think parking. We had a parking issue. So we could build just a typical parking garage, but that's not the way we do things. We thought, well, what if we put a theater on one side of it and program it and have sculpture, and then we could put retail, and then we could put a bar kind of thing in there and activate a parking garage. So Alice said, it's important that we get an architect from the state of Arkansas. And, we have really good architecture. And that's when Marlon Blackwell entered the picture. And he's done some amazing things. So it is not your typical parking garage. So we got a parking garage. We did not stop. We decided that we needed to partner with Sam Dean. And this has been in the works for 5 years, something we call convergence. You're actually seeing some pictures of that. How can we take a spark from all the great things the Museum does and what Crystal Bridges does, and we do it outside, and our target audience is kids. And we take you from the ravine, from the canopy to the ravine, and they experience science, art, play, and I'm telling you what, we have the most creative landscape architects. His staff is so creative, and we're going to roll this thing out, and I will tell you, it's not just for kids. You will want to go down there. So there's the convergence. So we're excited about that. One last thing.
I don't know how you're going to fit all this in.
I know, here it goes. Healthcare. Whole Health Institute. Some of the most amazing minds have come to Northwest Arkansas in healthcare and want to recreate something that you would have to go to the East Coast, West Coast to experience. I will tell you, we start out these meetings in meditation. I literally meditated once in my entire life. Now I seem to do it once a week in this design group. And I cannot tell you the transformation that it can have on a body. So Whole Health, Marlon Blackwell design, up above, it has a first, second, and third floor. The third floor is for Art Bridges. Art Bridges is really closely related to Crystal Bridges, and its main purpose is to get all the art out of the vaults across America and take it to every small town that doesn't have the capability to afford the transportation, to afford the security, or the mechanical means to make it work, and Art Bridges pays for it. So.
Great. Well, I would say you've got your work cut out for you, but it sounds like you have amazing architects and teams. So what is, this is the question of the day, what's the timeline for completion? Do you want to say that?
It's always fun. Yeah, because if I don't, Alice will. So okay. I'm going to lob it out there. So let's take it one at a time. So the art park, 800 parking spaces, really neat area, outdoor seating. It's going to come, the parking garage is going to be at the end of this year. And then it's going to have a plaza with a play park, and then all the convergence area. We're going to roll it in, probably opens the start of 24. And then we're going to open up Whole Health March of 24. And then Crystal Bridges, I think we'll have our first exhibition in 26. But we've broke ground on every one of those. This is how long it takes to do it right.
Absolutely, and you're going to keep our planning department really busy.
We are, yeah.
So, anything particular with all of the projects you have going that you just are super excited about and you want the public to know? I love that you talked about the art and the accessibility to art and Art Bridges, and so I was wondering if there's anything else.
Well, I think that there's about 30 feet of fence at Crystal Bridges. And I have visitors come from the Met and MoMA, and they're like, hey, where's the gates? Where's the fences? And then what's that mountain biking person doing riding around Crystal Bridges? And we said, we figured out a long time ago that our community owns our land. And you know, we've had such few incidents of vandalism. I tell you, we have a team of neighbors that walks and loves and picks up trash. You go to the Momentary, it's the same thing. Zero fences. People are hanging hammocks. They're hanging hammocks at Crystal Bridges. You know, it's about accessibility. At night, I would tell you to walk the trails and just see the diversity that walks Crystal Bridges. I have to tell this story. I met this lady, and she said she was on a bench, and she was a single mom. She said, I'm a single mom, and she was so upset. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, you know, I think I come here because this is my safe place. And she said, I've never been able to paint. No one's ever given me the opportunity. And I said, you know what? This is your day. And I took her right in there with our education team, and they had her painting that night. And I found her about a month later, and she was teaching classes at Crystal Bridges. That's life change, and that is what we do at the Momentary, Crystal Bridges. And you know what? That's what we're going to do at Whole Health. We're going to change the way people see healthcare.
I love the accessibility and there's the concept of community that I hear in all of the projects. And that's also something I think from the city standpoint, we want to be really intentional about that, whether it's with parks or whatever it might be. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the vision of Alice and the architects, and then your ability to put all this together. And you've got quite a bit of work ahead of you. So thank you again for joining us tonight. And anything else, any last words that you want to say about the projects?
I think keep in mind what makes this whole 165 acres super awesome that you may not know. There are very few AIA gold medal award-winning architects in this world. Think about this. Moshe Safdie, Buckminster Fuller, Marlon Blackwell, Frank Lloyd Wright, all on the same piece of land. It's amazing. You'll never see it anywhere else.
Right. That's a way to end it. So thanks for joining me. Thanks.
And as part of my job as Director of Administration, I get to help tell the Bentonville story, which is probably one of the best things. Being a native of Benton County, I'm very proud of Northwest Arkansas. We also strive for transparent communication. We have a robust Bentonville 311 system for citizens' service concerns. If you're not using that and you have a service concern, please note bentonville311.com. We have over 20,000 social media followers, and we encourage you to get involved and be part of our city. I also get to have some work with economic development and with partners, be part of the airport, Thaden Field. And I think Dr. Ham is here tonight. I want to recognize him. He's the chair of our airport board. Thank you for all the work that you do to help with that. And the City of Bentonville also get to work with Human Resources Department. We have a staff of just over 700 people, and our HR team works hard through technology and DEI efforts to make our city team much stronger. So really appreciate the HR team as well. And I know we all can agree that Bentonville is known for its great parks and recreation programming. And a gentleman who's done that for years is David Wright, who's helping me co-host tonight. So we want to welcome David. But we also have one of the best libraries in Northwest Arkansas with over 694,000 checkouts annually and more than 169,000 library visits annually. So please welcome Hattie Dudley, our library director, and our Parks and Recreation Director, David Wright. Thank you, David.
Hi.
You're the guest of honor.
So this is a
Evening.
fun team. Hattie and David they just know their industry so well, and they just, it makes every project a joy to really talk about with them. So I'm excited for you guys to share a little bit about the library and our Parks and Rec department. Hattie, I'm going to start with you first. Okay. We have lots of things going on at the library, so give us a few highlights.
A few highlights. I'll give you a few highlights from last year that are carrying over into this year. One of the most joyful projects we had last year was our learning gardens that we constructed in the Bentonville Library backyard. We partnered with the Master Gardeners of Benton County, and teen volunteers came and they learned how to design, construct, build, plant, and then later cultivate and harvest produce out of those gardens. What's really great about the teens is they got their hands dirty. They loved it. They took ownership. They didn't want anybody else helping them. They were out there and they shared their produce with their families as well as our patrons. And we had some winter crops that we're about to harvest, and we're planting again this spring next week, weather permitting. So that's one of the things that we'd love to share with our community, that story. It's just great.
Yeah, that was a fun experience. I could, outside my office, if I walk down just a little bit, I can see the library. And so when everybody was out there working, it was fun to see that and drive by each day. Mm-hmm. You've been doing lots of things at the library. We've got a needs assessment and some reason for that. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, very good. So we are planning an expansion of our Bentonville Library. And if you haven't heard about it, I encourage you to go to bentonvillebond.com and learn about that project. It's a public-private partnership, just like we had such great success with our existing facility, which is now 15 years old. Can't believe it went by so fast. But we're planning to add 22,000 square feet and renovate other areas of the library. Right now, our price tag is about $16.75 million. But we're making room for more. We're going to make this the quality library that you know and love now. We're going to make sure that we align with our city culture, our community values, and just make it the biggest, best library. And we look forward to growing with you all. So if you have any questions about the expansion, I'd love to share more information with you.
And that is one of our Bentonville Bond projects, and that's a partnership. So there's some fundraising that goes along with that to really make the best expansion library project out there. All right, David, I'm going to turn it over to you. So David keeps us moving with our Parks and Rec department, and I don't know if you know the story, but David really started the Parks and Rec department, and when I go to conferences, I say, our Parks and Rec are always talked about, and I would put our Parks and Rec team up against anybody in the nation. They are phenomenal. And so talk to us a little bit about, you've got a few more projects going on right now, so talk to us what's going on in Parks and Rec.
It's a great time in our department. And it's in the library, the street department. There's a lot of departments that it's a really good time, and the bonds put us in that position. So when the taxpayers approved the bond of April last year, it really puts us in position to take our department, our city, one step forward. And we're really excited about that. A couple of the projects that we're working on, maybe one of the ones that are the most talked about is the Quilta Parks in downtown, where we're going to take A Street that runs between the square and the courthouse, and it goes from the parking lot that's right there next to Tuscan Trotter, it goes all the way down to Lawrence Plaza and Compton Gardens. We're going to take the vehicles off that road and turn it into a pedestrian promenade, and that's a lot more. Thank you. There's a lot more to that than just a recreation space. It's also a major economic development project, and to be able to lead that, it's such an honor. But some of the other projects that we're working on is we're about to transform Phillips Park. So many people in Bentonville were born and raised playing baseball at Phillips Park, and it was built by a lot of well-intended gentlemen who literally were just building fields for their kids to play ball on. We're about to turn that park into what it really needs to be. By the time we're said and done with Phillips Park, it'll be a 10-field complex with artificial turf, AstroTurf on those fields. It will be a championship-level destination for kids from all over the region, all over this part of the country. We're really excited about that. And then maybe the most transformational of all out of that bond is the 8th Street Gateway Park. This will really be the Central Park of Bentonville. It's 100 acres. It's one block off of Walton Boulevard, one block off of where the present-day home office is. And when it's said and done, we're only going to disturb about 13% of that 100 acres. Most of it will remain natural, but it will be accessible, visible, and really unique in what it will bring to the citizens of our community. We're really excited about that.
So lots of projects, but I want to talk just briefly about the programming. Yeah. So I know Parks and Rec is like 140 programs. I'm not sure exactly, but you may have as many as Parks and Rec at the library. So tell the audience what they can look forward to, how they can get involved and be active with our Parks and Rec and our library.
If you drove into the neighborhood or drove into the community center tonight around 6 o'clock, you probably fought some traffic. And it's because all the kids that were playing soccer just the fields just south of us. Well, that's just 3 of our 14 soccer fields. The rest of them are over at Memorial Park, and about 75% of our participants are over there. As the mayor mentioned, we run 140 recreation programs a year. That's everything from the youth sports programs to swim lesson programs to the fireworks on the 4th of July that you're used to at Orchards Park. It's a really fun thing to get to provide these types of programs for our citizens, and it's citizens of all ages. I mean, we talk about these young programs for these kids playing soccer, but one of our more successful programs, maybe one of the more impactful programs, was the Bentonville Half Marathon just this past weekend. It's certainly not something that's geared at 7- and 8-year-old kids. It's geared at adults, and we've done 2 half marathons in the last 6 months. Thanks a lot to COVID, and we're really excited to get that back to being a spring event every year. These programs, Mayor, do a lot more than just offer fun activities for our citizens. They're also a major economic impact in our community. The Bentonville Half Marathon will have about an $800,000 local impact to our community. Our sports tournaments at these ball fields will do about another $1 million. Actually, I'm wrong. It's about $3 million a year of economic impact. So we're really excited to be able to provide that.
So lots of accessibility. We have a program for anybody out there, I promise you. Just come see Parks and Rec and talk to us about library. I know you've got some exciting getting back into programming too.
Yes, I'm very excited to share with you all that Mr. Keith O'Brien is coming to our library April 30th. He is the author of Fly Girls. It's a nonfiction book, and if any of you read it, it does feature Louise M. Thaden, who is a Bentonville native and a female aviator that was very much a leader in her time. His new book is called Paradise Falls, and it's about the Love Canal. And he'll be with us at 11 o'clock April 30th, a free activity or a presentation for everyone. And we'll also host a book sale and signing. And that was just a great partnership opportunity with Thaden School, Two Friends Books, and a private donor to make this happen for us at very little cost and the community as a free event. And I know you'll be with us that morning too. Another offering I'd just like to mention briefly is our pickup lockers. We just launched those last week. April Fool's Day, it was no joke. We actually had some lockers installed here at the community center. Thank you, David. And we have lockers on our front veranda. So that gives people the opportunity to pick up books that they may put on reservation. And it's just a very smart system. It's way smarter than me. It's like high tech. But the ones at the community center, you all have more. Yeah, maybe. I think it's just a great option because you're open early, you're open late, and also you have Sunday hours, so that's great. The ones at our library on the veranda are perfect for the early bird, the night out, and the Sunday driver. So if you're just out and about and need to pick up your hold, you can do that when we're not open. So we're excited about that new offering, fully grant funded. You know, anybody who wants to get engaged with the library, you know, we have a lot of volunteer opportunities, support our friends, support our library foundation, who's helping us raise funds for the expansion. It's just a great time to be involved in the city.
You need to go. They have everything you could possibly ever want at the library, in my opinion. So thank you both for joining me tonight, and I appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Mayor.
You know, the city can't move forward without those in the background, keeping things in order from a financial and technology perspective. And we want to recognize our Director of Finance, Jake Harper, who's here tonight, and his team. Jake, would you mind standing up so everyone can, thank you, Jake. And also our Director of IT, Dennis Hayes, and his team, along with part of they also have the GIS team.
Just a little about those guys. Jake leads the accounting department and the budget and finance team, and they achieved the first ever government finance triple crown in financial reporting. Their team received all 3 GFOA, so Government Finance Awards, their Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Reporting Award, Distinguished Budget Presentation, and the popular Annual Financial Reporting. That's a mouthful, Jake. They are the first. Bentonville is the first city in Arkansas. This is the first time that a department has won this in our entire state. Good job, Jake. Our accounting department processed more than $250 million of payments in 2021. The utility billing and collection department created more than 330,000 bills and read more than 625,000 meters. In 2021, the purchasing department processed 7,000 requisitions, and I have a feeling about 2,000 of those were to one particular department. the library. There were more than 900 purchase card statements, 86 formal competitive sealed solicitations, and many, many behind-the-scenes actions.
And a few accomplishments for GIS. Our IT service desk technicians resolved over 1,200 incidents for departmental staff. The team assisted and provided support for over 180 conference meetings. They moved the IT data center from downtown to the Administrative Services Building, which is what we refer to as the old Rubbermaid Building, which is where Administrative Services is now. The IT staff also partnered with the Electric Department and implemented Phase 1 of 20 miles of fiber optic cable to connect several of the key facilities. And David, this one's important. The GIS team worked closely with all city departments, adding over 1,600 address points to our maps and managed 10 full annexations. A lot of people don't understand the importance of the GIS team, but our public safety relies on them too to make sure that addresses are correct so that when you call 911, they know exactly where they're going. So thank you to the GIS team.
Our legal team is a big part of what we do, and with us tonight is Bonnie Bridges and Camille Thompson, who do so many things for our city. Just a couple highlights is they handled about 2,500 new criminal and traffic cases in the Bentonville District Court. They provided legal and prosecution support for criminal investigations, assisted with the implementation of alternative sentencing and case resolution, and promoted public safety and individual treatment. The department drafted numerous ordinances and resolutions. I would not have a clue how many numbers of those that they've done. They prepared and reviewed city contracts, negotiated land transactions, and supported city projects. And they advise all city staff, maybe some of us more than others, on all legal issues of how we should run our department.
As we mentioned earlier, our city growth, the population has topped 54,000, up more than 53% from 2010. And we want to recognize our Planning and Community Development Department and Tyler Overstreet and Shelley Kerr and their team. And I believe Shelley is here tonight. So thank you, Shelley and Tyler and that team. They have a lot of commercial and residential work, including planning and zoning for code enforcement. Development review and report preparation of 365 projects, which was the highest number since 2004. Developments included plans for 500 residential lots, 1,000 multifamily units, and 2.7 million square feet of commercial space.
They're also working on relaunching, Shelley, the Developers Conference this fall and finding opportunities for tree preservation during development. They manage the comprehensive planning census, neighborhood programs. They track development trends. They manage the tree giveaway, manage public art, and so much more. Actually, this weekend is the citywide cleanup, and so if you need more information about that, you can ask us after this or even visit our website at bentonvillear.com. The last thing I'll mention is the Great Neighborhood Program. It doubled the number of participating neighborhoods last year. It initiated a neighborhood tree planting program with support from Bentonville Parks Conservancy and began using the block party trailer to help neighbors get to know each other. They've already received the first reservation for the trailer this year.
They also have the Tree and Landscape Committee, which gave away over 1,000 trees at 2 giveaway events and recognized 6 properties for beautiful landscaping last year. And the next tree giveaway is scheduled for Saturday, April the 23rd. The Public Arts Advisory Board is also under the direction of this department, and they installed 2 art pieces and approved 2 more from private entities to be installed on public property. Another exciting art piece is planned for installation later this spring at Train Station Park, and they continue to work to maintain the beautiful appearance of our community. And as David mentioned, this weekend is the 2022 Spring Clean the Streets Day. And if you haven't signed up for that, the city provides all supplies, and you can find more information on the website. So it's a very busy team, and we appreciate all that they do for the city.
All right. Our next guest is a group of individuals who lead teams that are not thought of unless there's a problem. And I think these gentlemen will tell you that that's a great thing. Every day, more than 13 million gallons of water is purchased by our water department. Motorists drive across the community. They're impacted by traffic signals and timing, even the streets that they drive on over and over. And more than 67,000 mobile text messages or text services for electric customer service requests were made last year. Let's welcome a very dangerous six-man tag team group. Preston Newell, who's the Deputy Director of Public Works, Travis Matlock is the Director of Electric Services, and Dennis Burgess manages our Street Department, Transportation Department.
Well, thank you for joining me. I know you, when I said I'm going to do this, y'all kind of look at me because they're really the behind-the-scenes team. But I think it's so important for the community to meet you and understand what you do, because really the infrastructure piece and the utility piece of this is just such a core piece of how the city can develop, and everything really ties back to it in the city. So I know, Preston, you have the first question, and I said I'm going to ask you one question.
All right.
All right. So we heard the number of gallons of water used daily, and I think sometimes we may not realize the impact of the water and sewer and public maintenance crews. Tell us why your department is so vital to the city.
Well, first, I'd like to just say I appreciate the time to tell our story, because, you know, when the group that I work with do their job, you know, no one really thinks about what we're doing. And that means we're doing what we're supposed to do. But, you know, Mike Bender, the utility director, he does a great job leading this group, and it's because of him that this group is a success. But when you say water utilities, it's so much more. There's 3 departments that are represented. There's a water distribution system, a sewer collection system, and then there's the water resource recovery facility. And that group is made up of 75 full-time employees. There's 3 managers that do a great job. There's Kevin Alsup, who manages the construction side of things. There's Bo Thompson that handles the technical services, which is so much. That's all new development, metering, you know, just so much. And then we got Chris Earl, who manages the water resource recovery facility. And I say he does the magic. So he takes something that's used and he makes it clean again. And so what we do is the water department purchases clean water from Beaver Water District. And you're right, it's about 13 million gallons a day. And we take that clean water and we distribute it through the distribution system and then to all our residences, and then we collect that used water through our collection system, and we get it to Chris Earl at our water resource recovery facility, and he makes it clean again. So it's really a full cycle. We purchase clean water, we collect used water, and then Chris makes it clean again for the environment. But there's so much involved. There's over 300 miles of water line that they maintain. There's over 300 miles of sewer main they maintain. There's 24,000 meter connections. There's a cross-connection control program. There's a pre-treatment program. There's a technical services team that deals with all the new development from the idea to the finished product. And that is so much. And the team I work with is just fantastic. I mean, I can't say enough about them. They are truly a group of professionals that do a great job. And we also have 4 wholesale customers that you might not know. We sell water to Bella Vista, Cave Springs, Old Bella Vista, and Oak Hills. And so we do provide a lot of water to the region, and I just can't thank you enough for allowing me to tell our story and kind of explain what we do.
Well, we can't say thank you enough to your team, and you made it sound so simple, and then you started listing everything that they're in charge of. So I hope you can understand how important they are. And again, we hope that you know that that we're just so thankful for your team.
Well, we appreciate that. And there's a great group of folks in the city that we work with every day. All the departments are a pleasure to work with, and we just cannot appreciate Bentonville as much as, we probably don't appreciate as much as we should, but we do enjoy it.
All right, Travis, you have the next question. I said I'm going to give you guys the same question, and make it as easy as possible.
I don't know if I can follow that. I don't have the note cards that Preston has, but much like he said, if you didn't know that Preston and I existed, then we're doing our jobs. That's exactly, our job is to make sure that you guys have reliable, low-cost power, water and sewer, so that you can go about your daily lives, flip the switch, and the lights come on, flush the toilet, and it goes away. That's what we do. Unlike the other 4 cities up here, Bentonville actually owns and operates its own electric department. We don't generate anything, but we do purchase from SWEPCO and then distribute it to the 54,000 residents here throughout the city. The thing that makes us different is we only serve Bentonville. So if you have a problem, you know who to call. You can call me directly. You're not calling somebody out of county. You're not calling somebody out of state. If you have an issue with anything that goes on with the electric system, you can call me. That local control is something that is not normal across the state or across the United States of America. There's actually only 15 of us set up this way in the state of Arkansas, and we're the only one up here in this corner. We are a full-service engineering construction firm. I have a group of engineers. I have a group of linemen who keep everything running, keep everything hot and lit. We have a reliability rating of 99.99 and a whole bunch more decimal points after that. What that means is, hopefully, your power doesn't go out very much. If it does, like I said, we only care about the 30 square miles of Bentonville and the 54,000 residents that we have here, so it should come back on pretty quick. The text messages that the mayor talked about, we have an outage management system and a way to, if your power does go out at that 0.0001% time, all you have to do is text out. You can text out to a number that is there, and then we get people out there ready to fix it. There's only one other electric department in the state, and it's a very small co-op in the northeast corner that has that capability. None of the other ones do. So we think we're pretty cutting edge with that type of material. And just to echo Preston's comments, we have a great team that we work with. I was on the private side for 10 years. And as I've been here for the last 15 years, my appreciation for everything that we do here and how much we have grown has just, it continues to amaze me how that we get done what we get done with the people that we have to allow everybody else that came before us to be able to contribute and just continue to make this city grow.
Well, you did well after Preston, so good job. And we thank both of your departments. The next department we're going to move to is transportation. And if you know, thank you to the public. You've helped us pass a $260 million bond extension. And so a lot of those projects fall in Dennis's department. And so he has been extremely busy. You've been from managing, I don't know, a handful of projects to now we have about 75 projects between transportation and drainage. And he's going to talk to you about some of those projects. I just want to say, Dennis, he's the best. He has the best personality. He will sit down with you. He will explain it. He's just very likable, but he's also very knowledgeable. And I hope that if you've ever come into our office, I think that's the one thing I would say I'm so appreciative of. And same thing with Preston and Travis. When the public comes in, you're willing to talk to them, you're willing to pull things up on GIS and show them the rationale behind the decisions. So, but Dennis gets a lot of our, he probably gets a little more questions than, so we're going to have you talk to us about streets and drainage and in particular, I think some of our bond projects, because I know that's what a lot of the public is interested in.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and real quickly, Transportation Department is engineering, street, and capital projects. We have about 40 employees, I guess, altogether. Most of those in street, which that is probably most of what you guys see when they're plowing snow, they're mowing grass, they're cleaning out ditches or patching potholes. You'll see most of that is when you'll see them done. 12 or 14 in the background in the engineering team are managing 60 to 75 projects at a time. That's the team you probably don't see as much, but they're working just as hard, just kind of behind the doors there, which is what I'm used to being at. I'm not as used to being on this couch. It's smaller than it looks, actually. But
we should have had the 8-foot couch, not the 6-foot couch.
Yeah. I had to take
Debbie said we had the right couch, so you can. I'm going to put that on her.
Yeah. So, and we do have a lot of projects that those guys keep going, guys and girls keep going. That 60 to 75 projects. I think there's 50 of those for sure that we have in wave one of our bond project. We've spread this out in sort of 3 waves is what we're shooting for anyway. The first wave is mostly design projects. We need to get some projects out there that have plans and a set of prints that we can go to bid and get contractors with. So we're spending this first phase trying to get all of those projects designed. There's a few that are under construction. There's Southwest Wright Road, which goes over here to the 28th Street Park that David's working on. Connects from Highway 12 to 28th Street. We're in design for finishing 28th Street out to I, so we're going to connect that. We have Rainbow Curve that we're looking at, remodifying that intersection. definitely is, as we got public concerns and as we collected engineering data, we looked back and decided we should not have collected engineering data because the public was dead on that one. That's our top intersection that needs improvements in both places there. So we have Water Tower Road that we're working on as well, and the connection of 8th Street to Water Tower Road. So as we went through those projects, we were looking at connection, safety, congestion, as well as economic development, and we prioritized those, had a steering committee. Ms. Kerr was on our steering committee for prioritizing those projects, and we came up with our top 10 arterial, collector, and intersections that we needed improvements for. And so that's where we went to work on the design of those. We use BentonvilleBond.com website a lot. We try to be as transparent as we can. So as we get plans from our engineers, we have, I think, 8 engineers working on all these projects that we've hired. So as we get plans, we upload them to BentonvilleBond.com. So if you ever want to know where we're at on a project, it is probably the same thing that I could give you if you came into my office, what is on that project. You go to latest design plans and pull them up and see what's going on. I think drainage projects are the same. You bond on that Bentonville Bond website, you can go to the drainage side and see the same thing. So I think that's the main thing to get across to everyone is if they want to keep up with us and keep those updates, we're even putting some timelines out there, but be gentle on me on the timelines because those fluctuate quite a bit.
And we do, Dennis's team's been really great too. We do, just so you know, for every project, we do public input for those projects. And so we do try to take that input in the design phase as you're going through it. And so Dennis's team does a great job of trying to collect that information. I think we're much more coordinated too on that piece. And we're really trying our best to collect the information, get back with the public. But our door is always open. And all of these gentlemen will be happy to speak with you about any of your projects. Okay, so it wasn't that bad, was it? You all fit on the couch and you survived. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job. So as these guys exit the stage, it's important for me to just make sure everybody's aware that the Razorback baseball team won 8-1 tonight in Gainesville. And we are also turning the home stretch. And so last but certainly not least is our public safety, specifically our law enforcement, has really witnessed a number of changes in the last couple of years because of COVID. Our staff continues to stand strong in protecting our community. Our Bentonville Emergency Communication Center handled more than 122,000 calls last year. Let's welcome to the stage the dynamic duo of Chief Shasted and Chief Boydston.
Welcome. They both sort of gave me the look too of.
There's enough room on this couch.
So.
We're on separate ends. I could come closer.
So we want to hear from you. Obviously, public safety is, I think it's the #1 priority for me as a mayor, but for the city. And when people come to Bentonville, one of the comments, they're always commenting about the people and how welcome they are, how clean the city looks, but also the safety of the city, and that's so important. So we have a couple quick questions for you. So as we grow, I'm going to direct this first to Chief Shasted. What type of trends are we seeing?
You know, everything you've heard tonight is Bentonville's unique in the events that we have, the infrastructure that we have, along with the public safety as a whole. And one thing we deal with on a regular basis, people ask all the time when they move here, is this a safe city? Where's a bad side of the city? And I kind of laughed, there isn't one. I said Bentonville's extremely safe. We're working the half marathon this weekend. We had over 25 officers supporting that event. And I picked up a guy that just about finished the event. He had an injury, and he was telling me about his wife. They were up and living in Memphis. They're looking at moving here. And he had asked the same question. That is just a repeat question of how is the city? Is it safe? And our goal at a department in the police department, all the men and women that are working there, is something we want to continue. We want Bentonville to be the safest city to work and live in. Some of the issues that we recognize is that some of the calls we used to deal with on maybe a monthly basis, we're dealing with now at a daily, weekly basis. We are seeing an increase of calls, criminal type calls, and that's proportionate to the rapid growth that we have. So we're always looking at better ways to provide those services. We're looking at ways to increase technology into the enforcement side of it. And we want to make sure that we're continuing to provide the quality services that we've always done for supporting these events within the community while also handling our normal calls for service. So.
Okay, Chief Boydson, the next question is for you. So we want to talk about bike patrol. I think you recently got our firefighters and rescuers out on our bike trails, and also bike patrol with the police department. That is definitely a trend, I would say, something new that we're seeing. And so let's talk to the public about that and how we're handling that.
Our call responses to our trails is increased quite a bit, as we probably figured they would with the number of people that are using them. I think we heard some numbers tonight of over 3 million or so a year. With the generous grant that we got from the two gentlemen that were here earlier tonight, Tom and Stuart Walton, they've assisted us in hiring 6 more personnel for the fire department, partnered with the city over the next 3 years that will allow us to put full-time personnel with equipment on the trails during good weather and daylight hours while they're being utilized so well. So that is a big piece of allowing us to be able to be out there, not only if somebody gets injured, but also somebody that needs directions or needs help. We're going to be a face out there to assist those folks that are using our trails so much.
So my next question is really for both of you. So community engagement is really, that's something that from my office, but I've also asked all the departments to really think about that and how can we engage the departments with the community. And I know each of you have those programs and we want to make sure that our community is aware of those. So talk to us, Chief Shasta, about some of the programs you're doing. Some of them we've been doing, some of them we're kind of bringing back, and then we have some new ones.
Okay. Before I do, I just want to thank the community that we live in. I tell you, for the last 2 years, I'm going to just use the word unique for law enforcement. I think everybody sees what's going on throughout the country. The times that we really needed these community engagement activities and programs, we couldn't do it with COVID, but we are hitting the ground running this year. We want to make sure that we have these programs in place. Community engagement for the police department is critical to the success of us, and to have that open door to where you guys could come and visit with us. We've got several programs that we've implemented. The Citizens Police Academy, we just got done completing one. It's a great opportunity for people to come in, get a better understanding of our department and how we operate, get to meet our officers. We have Coffee with a Cop. We have youth academies that are getting ready to start up again with the school district. We are doing National Night Out. And these are just regular programs, but we also want to make sure that you guys know you can contact us anytime. You guys can stop by anytime. If you guys want to see the facilities, it's your facility. We want you guys to, if you guys want to see what the new dispatching center looks like or how it operates, come by. We will always take that time to give you that tour, give you that information.
So lots of programs. And Chief Boydson, talk to us about what's going on in the fire department. You're always very active. I will say one of the things the fire department took on was the drive-through COVID shots, and I think that was kind of unique to the area.
Let's knock on wood, like everybody said, and hope it's gone.
Yes.
I don't know if it's there yet, but we can hope it is. Our community, like Chief Shasta said, you know, these fire trucks and these buildings belong to the citizens of Bentonville. You allow us to maintain them and to respond to emergencies on them. We don't want to always just be there when something goes bad. We'd like for people to stop by, see us at the same time. We are going to build, because of the citizens of Bentonville, a training tower that we will be able to train in daily, keep our personnel at the top of their game. Once we get that up and running, we're planning on having some kind of community type to show people what fire actually does, what they have to go through on a daily basis in the case of a fire.
So speaking of that, the police department also has a training facility. And again, thank you to the public, because both of these projects were part of our bond extension.
And that's been the missing key for a long time. We've always borrowed other agencies' ranges. We've always borrowed their facilities. And we've been very fortunate. We've got great partnerships with surrounding agencies. But this is going to be unique to us. It's going to offer us an opportunity to train regularly in service training. One we have a live fire training facility that's coming in. We also have a K-9 training area with obstacle courses. There'll be some other unique training that we can do at this location. But one of the big things that we looked at and researched was a virtual simulator. It's very hard to reduplicate the type of calls that we deal with or public safety calls as a whole. And so this is a company called Virtra 300. They're the only company in the country that's kind of teamed up with another company that researches every law enforcement critical incident. And they put all that data in there. And so we have this capability at the police department. The officers are using it regularly and daily. It's right there at our facility. We've used it for Citizens Police Academy. I just had a news crew reach out this week, said, hey, we did a story on this where the last city I lived in, we'd love to come up there and take a look at it. So it's going to be a great opportunity to see just a piece of what law enforcement is on a simulator. So we have that available all the time, up and running.
Well, thank you both for joining me tonight and sharing the couch. And it wasn't so bad, was it?
It was.
Okay.
It's too big. It's too big.
All right. Well, we've basically come to the end of our program. We have one more thing to do tonight, and it's a very special award and recognition. I want to thank each of you that are here with us tonight, because again, you represent those that serve on our boards and commissions, and this was sort of a trial period for us to be able to do this. I think it went really well tonight, so thank each of you for helping us with that next year, because we have not just our boards and commissions, but the volunteers in the city between the half marathon, our coaches that are out. I'm hoping that we can maybe have an event. I don't think we can fit everybody in a room like this, and that was our concern with this tonight, but that we can find ways to really recognize our volunteers even more next year with this program. As you know, we were planning this event in February, and we were sort of doing it with State of the City and volunteer recognition event, but we had to postpone that event until this evening. But it actually worked out really well because April is National Volunteer Appreciation Month. And so we do have a proclamation for that. I'm not going to read the entire proclamation to you, but you can come read it. And it just really tells you how much we appreciate our volunteers. In particular tonight, we want to recognize two people in our city. And this is actually a husband and wife duo, and it's Howard and Elaine Kerr, if they would come forward. So if you don't know Howard and Elaine, which I can't imagine that you would not know them, they have been active members of our community for years. Just to give you a little bit of information, Howard's currently an advisory member of the Bentonville Library Foundation. He's helping us to raise funds for the library, so we really appreciate that. He also serves on our Northwest Arkansas Airport Authority. He's served previously on our Criminal Nuisance Abatement Board and our Airport Advisory Board. And Miss Elaine, she's currently a member of our Bentonville Planning Commission, and we so appreciate that. And I know that not only are you part of the Planning Commission, but there's a lot of education that we've asked you to take in to be on the Planning Commission, and so we appreciate that dedicated time to that. She's also a former member of our Library Advisory Board. She's served on the Bentonville Garden Club since 2000, and she's definitely a community-minded member, and you can just call Elaine, and she's happy and willing to she probably takes on too much but to help. And so tonight we just want to recognize you as our Volunteers of the Year for the city. Again, we really appreciate you coming tonight. You can give us feedback on how you felt tonight went. We hope next year we're going to do this again, and we'll tweak it a little bit. But again, thank you, all of you that serve on our boards and commissions, and we cannot say thank you enough from me. I want to make sure that I recognize a few people. Debbie Griffin, she put all of this together. She helped make sure all of the filming takes place. We do hope to use segments of this to help put that information out to the public so they can learn more about what the city is doing. And so we appreciate our Avad 3, who is the staff here helping us to film that tonight. We appreciate Arvest. They helped us with, and there's a lot of those charcuterie board cups back there, so I expect everyone
Please
to
stop on
take
the way out
one.
and pick up a snack, because we have several, and we really don't need all those leftovers, and they're really, really good.
They are really good. So we appreciate that. We appreciate our Bentonville Police Color Guard. We appreciate Kyle Payne with our Parks and Rec Department in particular. He helps get all this set up. And Brian Tucker with our AV support, and the Grazed Board, if you want to know, is who did the charcuterie boards in the cup for us. So again, we appreciate, thank you for any of our state representatives that were here tonight, as well as the governor's office had a representative with us tonight as well. So with that said, I hope you've gotten a lot of information tonight about the city, and just keep in touch with us. We want to work with you, and we want to make Bentonville the very best place in America to live, work, and play.